Hi, and thank you for coming back again. Today we're going to show you how not only to land your first client, but how to speak to them, to do the pitch. It's a sales talk. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to move over to the computer and we're going to go through the process. So decide whether you're going to do this from a niche stand or whether you're going to be sector agnostic as such, right? Sector agnostic means you've got to learn pretty fast. So let's say you was doing something like a cleaning company, you would have to learn what that cleaning company was doing and try to understand their business. Whereas if you already got a background in some other area, I mean, for us, it's like the gaming and betting industry, or maybe property or building, because that's where we come from. You know, it's all these types of backgrounds. You've got to consider what you're best at and decide whether you're going to choose a niche or not. If you've got a niche and you've actually approached the customer within your niche, it's obviously going to be a lot easier. But again, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We've got to get you started. So the next point is get your head in the game. That basically means focus. You've got this meeting coming up, so you need to do a little bit of mental jogging, as we call it. That's warming up, ready for this meeting with these people. Right? So do some pre-exploration. And by pre-exploration, we mean go and have a look how they're ranking on Google, what keywords they're using, see where they're advertising, see they're already spending money on marketing. You know, try to learn as much about that company as you possibly can. Once you've learned about that company, then you go over and you do some competition research. And it teaches you whether, you know, well, should I say it doesn't teach you, it actually shows you whether you've got something in hand, whether you can learn something from the other companies to take to them. So look at the competition and see how the company that you're going to meet compares with them. And also, if the other company is doing much better, then, you know, try to learn how they're doing better before you actually go to this meeting. So again, you know, plan your sales strategy and then you are ready to approach them. Now, the important thing is before you go to the meeting, you could do some pre-connecting. You could go onto social media, you could become their friends on different platforms, maybe LinkedIn if they're professional. And I think what that would do for you is literally give you, you know, a sort of walk in the door, and you would say, hello John, hello Dave, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, you're on first name terms. That sort of makes life a bit easier. It builds trust. You've got a bit of rapport going. And, you know, you can talk, make a little bit of small talk, and then you've broken the ice and you can move on. Give a short introduction about yourself and what you do. Keep it short as well, like I said. 60 seconds or less would be ideal because you don't want to bore them. This is not about you, this is about them. So you're just showing them that you're in the right place to offer them something, nothing more. Now, the next point is very, very important. Let them talk. And if they're not natural talkers themselves, you know, prompt them. You've got to think of them as the cow, and you know, you've got to get it moving, so you stick the electric on them to get them walking again, or something like this, you know. It's like just to get them into conversation, but let them do the talking. Find out the size of their business. It tells you really how much money is in it for you, yes, but also it will give you an idea of what are their goals, you know, what can they achieve, what are they capable of. If they're a one-man company, it's going to be quite difficult to sort of, you know, go roofing and build 200 houses, you know, so, you know, that's not your market. So you've got to actually, you know, try to get out of them what size of a company they are and what they want to promote. And then, of course, you've also got to dig a little bit deeper because it might be something that they're not telling you, and find out any unique selling point. This should all come from them because basically they're going to explain to you their company profile. Let them also, you know, pump them a little bit and try to get out what is their budget for marketing, what is their income, what can they afford, what can't they afford, and then you know where you are with them because it does give you a sort of advantage to, you know, to feel yourself into the situation, right? Ask them how they find clients and see if they're looking for a short-term solution or a long-term strategy. Now try to explain to them that SEO is more sort of a mid to long-term strategy, but SEM, that's a different one, of course. It's that's trying to get them started straight away, and you can do your Facebook ads, you can do it depends on the industry, of course, but search engine optimization is probably what we would try to encourage them to do. But again, like we said, they are doing the talking, right? So now the next point is you've got to tell them what you can do. But do it briefly, keep it short, because remember, you're only in this conversation for 15 to 20 minutes, right? Tell them what's the best strategy for them long term, how are you going to bring them traffic, yes, and more importantly, how are you going to convert this traffic into paying clients. Discuss the process time, because the process time, there's no point in telling them we'll do SEO and they're there with you 2 weeks later saying it's not working, because 2 weeks is not long enough. You need at least a month, 6 weeks before you start seeing the first results. Whereas advertising on the Facebooks or as such, you can push it from day one, right? So that's also an important point, to make it very clear to them that the time schedule will be dependent on what they're trying to achieve. Explain to them that you're very efficient and that you streamline the process to make it more viable for the customer, more profitable for the customer. You've got to qualify yourself for the job. You've got to tell them what you've done, how you've done it, and not only that, you've got to tell them and make it very, very clear how you're going to do it for them and how you're going to make them a lot more money than they are spending. So the profit potential for the business, again, use some of the numbers that they've given you earlier and try to sort of multiply them to make them look favorable. And, but be realistic, of course. Don't live in a dream world. You're not just trying to get the job. You are actually trying to deliver a professional service, because hopefully these will become not just your customers for the long term, but they will also point you in directions of other people, other business owners who are also going to give you further work, right? The other thing is, of course, always create a bit of urgency. Fear can motivate, that's for sure. If you tell them, listen, the competition's getting ahead of you, or they've already got first run, or they're employing 3 times the people, or you're doing things wrong, right? It might make them sit up and believe, because the next part is really the big part, and that's the pricing module. Imagine this, SEO is very expensive for some companies, and you've got to explain to them what it's going to cost them. Make it sound very, very attractive, as though you are doing them a really, really good deal. Now you might be, but then again, you might be just, feeling them out and trying to sort of leverage the situation. You've got to make sure that the benefits for them are justified. That's the most important part, so they can actually see, oh, it's costing me 10,000, but I'm going to make 30,000, and I'm going to have clients for the rest of my life as such, right? So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to justify the situation. Prepare for objections, because you're going to get some. Believe me, a lot of people think, SEO is going to be cheap. They're going to be a little bit shocked when they find out the real pricing of it. So again, you've got to be prepared with your answers and say, listen guys, you're charging 50,000 for this, right? To build this, to build that, and so on. We're only charging a few thousand, or so it's only a small percent. You might not make as much money on your first project, but over the period of time on other projects, you'll be making more and more and more. So you've really got to install that fear into them, right? So this is where you've got to really learn to read the human being as such. You've got to watch for their reaction. You should know the person by now, because you've already met them. You've probably spoken about football and the wives and where you're going for holidays, etc., right? And now you've got to know whether they are genuinely interested or not, right? If it's an excited reaction, go for the commitment, basically get the contract out and get it signed there and then. If it's a cautious reaction, you might ask them, have you got some questions? This is something that you're not sure about. You know, shall we come back? Shall we have a second meeting? Would you like to dwell on it? Because, you know, this is not a thing you can always tie them down on day one. It's very important that you sort of give people a bit of breathing room and explain the advantages. Let them dwell on it. But again, you know, follow up, make another appointment, come back again. Give them the terms and the conditions next time, and make out that you're giving them an even bigger discount just to get them on board, etc., etc. Right? And then if you've got the nod, like we said, the contract comes out, you offer them a non-disclosure certificate, so you're not sharing any of the secrets, right? You discuss payments, which is obviously very important to you. Get an advance if you can, or at least get your expenses covered, or, you know, discuss the stage payments that are going to be involved, and then get started. Get started is obviously means you are now earning money. SEO is the only business in the world really where you can earn big money while you're learning. So, you know, that's why we say to you, get started. You've got the business set up, you've got the second phase where you've actually started, you know, prospecting. You're now into the meeting, and now you've got your first client, right? This is just one client. Keep on going, get more clients. The next video that we're going to do is on how to price digital marketing. That's, you know, something, obviously it's got a lot of broad scope, and that's why we want to discuss it in a separate video. And hopefully, yeah, it's going to be beneficial to you. We're going to do a lot of videos on this channel, and then we're going to start really teaching you about the marketing strategy. So keep it here. We want to do it step one, you know, all the way along the line till you understand it, until you're actually motivated enough to start making some serious money. So take care. We'll see us again soon. Check out our website for more tutorials, for more blogs, and yeah, if you've got any questions, drop us a line. Take care. Bye bye.